Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of As the World Churns. I am Andy Levy, and as always, here with my brilliant co-host Danielle Moodie. So over the weekend, on Saturday, we had the sort of dueling events, which was the sad spectacle that was the Trump birthday parade in Washington, D.C. And that was countered and I would say easily eclipsed by the hundreds, the thousands of No King's Day protests and rallies that were held throughout the nation. We don't know the full number of people who attended these rallies. We know it was, I think the technical term is fucking huge.
Mm-hmm.
And there are estimates around 5, 6 million. But again, none of that's official. We don't know. But it was huge. One of the biggest days of protest in American history, I think, beyond a doubt. Danielle, what do you make of the fact that the No King's Day protest seemed to be a rousing success and the sad little boy king birthday party was not very well attended?
Well, here's the thing. When you're seeing ads on Craigslist to try and get people to attend the birthday party, and that you'll be paid, and then you lie to people and you say it's going to be over 250,000 patriots are going to be descending on Washington, D.C., I think we all knew that it was going to be more embarrassing than Trump's first inauguration. And the fact that the second inauguration they held indoors and they said it was because of weather. But funny enough, I remember being bundled up from head to toe with the same temperatures for Barack Obama's historic outdoor inauguration the first time. So what do I make of it? I make of the fact that Americans are sick to death of Donald Trump. I make of the fact that they do not want to be ruled, that they still believe in democracy. The numbers were absolutely historic and encouraging and hopeful, because I think that the point of protests and rallies is for people not to feel alone, to recognize that you are one of millions, right? Who want to stand up for this country and fight for this country. And frankly, to the world as well, that think that because we managed to elect a adjudicated rapist and a felon to become the president of the United States, that the rest of us here must be buffoons in the United States. So I like the fact that No Kings also maybe restored some faith that the world has in the American people, that we're not all MAGA wearing mindless sheep who believe every tall tale, every lie that Donald Trump spins. So, for me, my favorite, Andy, to be honest, was the video of the army tank that was squeaking along. I think it was Pennsylvania Avenue, squeaking along. You could hear it because there were no people there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like if there had been cheering crowds that were loud, you would not have heard the of the tank. So, yeah, very emblematic of, just Trump.
Yeah, no, I think that's totally true. And the army itself, the soldiers who were involved in the parade, for the most part, the videos I saw could not have seemed less interested or less thrilled to be there, which, as I think I said in our last episode, having been dragged into having to do a couple of parades when I was in the army, nobody wants to do those to begin with. And so I think there's a lot of that, but it also did seem like they didn't want to be there for this particular thing. So I thought it was sort of a sad day for the army for having to be there and going through with all of this crap. I also thought it was kind of a good day for the army to see soldiers completely disinterested in propping up Donald Trump. So, so yeah. Um, Obviously, the big thing that happened on Saturday was the assassination, I guess you would call it, of one uh, Democratic lawmaker in Minnesota and her husband, and the attempted assassination of a second Minnesota politician and his wife. a gentleman named Vance Bolter, I guess it's pronounced, who has now on Monday was found and arrested. He's being charged with first-degree murder for now, which I've seen people complaining that he hasn't been charged with terrorism. I just want to point out that initial charges are almost, I don't want to say almost never, but are often not all the charges. And to charge someone with terrorism, you probably need more evidence than they have at the moment. But it would not shock me if those charges get bumped up at some point. State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband lost their lives. State Senator John Hoffman and his wife, who were both shot, I think I read 8 or 9 times, but managed to live. And apparently this Bolter had a hit list with dozens of names on it, including people with ties to the abortion rights movement. He apparently went to the homes of 2 other lawmakers with the intent to kill them, and I guess they weren't home, thankfully. So, Danielle, just an awful day in Minnesota.
I think that what is so horrible about these tragic events is that anybody that has been paying attention knew that this was coming.
Yeah.
That it is not a long leap to make from Donald Trump's violent rhetoric and MAGA's violent rhetoric and his cabinet members' violent rhetoric and members of the GOP in Congress, in the House and Senate and their violent rhetoric to violent acts. And what I find terribly troubling, frustrating, is the fact that corporate mainstream media still likes to pretend that there are both sides to this
Yeah.
issue when there are not. Still like to pretend that both sides say things that could warrant violence. It is just not the fucking truth or the fucking case. And the fact is that you have one party that has had websites with Democrats in crosshairs of a rifle on their website. You have had one party that has talked about their political opponents as vermin and has said of their political opponents that they are scum, that they hate this country, right? All of those types of things that have led to the insurrection on January 6th, that have led to the murders of Representative Hortman and her husband and the attacks on State Senator Hoffman and his wife. This comes from someplace. And the fact that we allow mainstream corporate media to lie to us, to gaslight us into believing that, like, we don't really understand the motives or really understand like what has happened yet. And the fact that Twitter was filled with a bunch of people spreading disinformation and lies about Vance Bolter is the point of why Elon Musk took over Twitter, right? To plant seeds of doubt and to distort information. But the fact is, MAGA is violent. Donald Trump spreads violent rhetoric that results in physical violence. And my fear, Andy, is that it's going to get worse. This is just the beginning.